All right, just finished here at the gym. Want to start a video, and what I like to do is talk about relationships, and probably the people who will get the most benefit out of my stuff is men, because I come from my perspective as a man, 50 years on this planet, and just my extensive dealings with women. I've been single my whole life, obviously had long-term relationships, but, a lot of short-term relationships, I've had great relationships with women. I love women, so, and that's why I want to help men, because it's, some of my best experiences in life are with women. They're wonderful. So, it's air, water, food, sex, right? But anyway, I like to use criminal cases because, I'm a 22 year retired Houston Police Department, if you haven't heard any of my other videos. And, I retired and I started watching a lot of, true crime stuff, just as I, worked out or something. And, I started noticing trends. I was like, man, a lot of these, beta male providers are being victimized. They're being murdered, by their wives or their wives' lovers. And, there's the patterns going on. And I'm like, and I was into red pill already. And I'm like, whoa, this needs to be a teaching moment, And I hear guys talking about, looks, money, status, money and status is where it's at. No, looks is where it's at. Well, it's clear money and status is not where it's at, So that's why I like to use criminal cases as backdrops to help men learn and help show men why being a beta male provider is not a good strategy. You want to be the alpha bang. Those are the men, that women truly respect, because anyone can be a beta male provider. I don't say anyone, but men like to work hard. A lot of men make money. Just because you're a man that makes money doesn't make you, stand out from the crowd. If you're a man that knows how to be a lover, a player, a man that understands how women work, a man that has swag and is confident, a man that takes care of himself, that's a rare man. But making money, working hard, that's what we're built to do, So you're going to be, in steep competition with guys that are also chasing the bag. And women are attracted to money, but they're not aroused by it. So you might get a girl out on a date, and you might get a girl to dinner, but we know how, the foodie date, we know how miserable that is. She'll go to stuff with you, she'll let you buy tons of stuff for her, and she'll enjoy it, and she will, and she might enjoy her time with you. And I've been a beta before too. I've been a beta male provider. I know how that works. I had to kill that guy figuratively, so I could become the alpha bang player, and it was much better being the other one. So they'll go to events with you, but they won't bang you, and that's how you know, right? You'll be in the friend zone with a lot of chicks, right? Women love to experience a good lifestyle, but they only sleep with the men they truly respect, right? So anyway, the case I want to talk about today is the Ronald Fisher case, and he's one of your, guys that didn't understand it. You have to understand what women are attracted to. Women need to also understand what men are attracted to. If they don't, then, how many women are like, I'm a boss babe. I got my own car, I got my own house, I make 600 G's a year. And she's, looks like a linebacker. And you're like, nothing of what you said is, making me attracted to you at all, right? We guys, if you ever watch Kevin Samuels, he would be like, these girls like, I need this, I need a 6-figure man, and I need, it's a 5'2", 200 pound, and Kevin Samuel's like, you can't make this stuff up, right? Because those women were not aware of what men are attracted to. They think that men like masculine energy. They think men like a boss babe, right? So that's their fault. Well, it's on us to know what women are attracted to, right? You need to know what makes you attractive. And I'm telling you, don't listen to him. I'm telling you, and one guy I like is Owen Cook. And, I learned this myself, but when I start seeing guys that I respect, like Owen Cook, he's, look at some of his stuff. He's good, man. He's good at game, real good at game. And he's been, basically Rollo Tomasi, Godfather of Red Pill, has vouched for him. There's other guys that have vouched for like his game, like at bars and nightclubs, is like solid. And he even makes fun of himself. He's like, I ain't even good looking, but I can pull chicks. Now, I don't tend to agree with not being good looking, as far as that goes, because this guy doesn't go to the gym, stuff like that. But that's him, man. Maybe he's that good on his game, and you can do that. Absolutely can do that if you're that good on your your social game, right? So it is possible, but you got to be good. You got to be real good. But that is very powerful. So anyway, but Ronald Fisher was a doctor, and he went to Cornell University, which is an Ivy League school for his undergraduate. He was very smart, but he became a doctor. He became a medical doctor, and became an anesthesiologist. Those guys are paid very well, and it's not easy. It's not an easy specialty to get into and get through, right? So anyway, but he did. So he's got the brain smarts, right? That doesn't translate, obviously, and you'll hear from this case that he knows what he's doing, right, with women. And you'll see, he is skilled at scamming, and he is skilled at eluding the police. He was, and he was good at making money, really good at making money. But that did not allow him to have good relationships with women, right? He still, and he thought that the way to get women, the way to attract women, was to tell them what a great lifestyle he could provide, how much fun he could provide for them, how he could, buy them things and take them places, and how he wanted to have fun and he wanted to have good times with young 20-year-olds. And at this time he was like 40 years old or something like that, which is not terrible, but every man wants a 20-year-old. He's saying that, it's like, bro, yeah, they'll use you for your money, especially at 20, right? But he thinks that money and good times is what women are aroused by, because he wants sex. It was clear he wanted sex, because that's what he later gets in trouble for, right? So what he does is, well, let me back up a little bit. He was married in Las Vegas to another anesthesiologist. And this is another thing I've said before. How do you know what you know? How do you know that someone knows what they're talking about, right? Well, things that they say are corroborated by facts in the real world, right? Well, I've said, wherever there are men and women, there will be sexuality, because that's how important sexuality is to us. Food, water, air, sex, right? Or you could go the other way, air, water, food, sex. But anyway, it's the fourth one after those, and those are very important. You can't live very long without them. But yeah, so his wife was also an anesthesiologist. They worked in the same place. Oh, where men and women are working, there will be sex. She's an anesthesiologist. He's an anesthesiologist. They bang, they get married. They live in a mansion in Las Vegas. They have 2 children, but the marriage didn't work, right? Probably because he's a narcissistic Machiavellian psychopath or sociopath. So anyway, that marriage breaks up, and so he goes, and this is in 1994, where there weren't dating apps, but they had things like dating pages or something, and you could put like personals there, like Yahoo personals and stuff like that. That was a little bit before my time, so but I kind of know how they worked. But you basically made a profile and you wrote down, hey, I'm Bob and this is what I am about, and that's what he did. I'm Ronald and this is what I'm about. I like to show women a good time. I have a yacht. I can take you places. I can, so he's flaunting his yacht. That's how he's attracting the women, right? And one of the first women he meets on there, and they only use their initials because he's charged with sexual crimes. He essayed these women. He did not get their consent, according to them, right? Now, I'll get into that in a minute. Being 22 years as a Houston police officer, retired, I can kind of speak on, I think, what's going on a little bit. But Ronald Fisher invites the first girl. She's a nursing student, 25 years old. He's in his 40s. And he's like, come out to my yacht and we can have a good time, blah, blah. Well, But she hasn't seen his picture. All she's seen is or heard is how much he can provide for her, that beta male provider side, which again, guys, women hate unattractive men. Women hate beta male providers. Trust me, they do. And this is also corroborated by Owen Cook. He is, been a validated guy in the dating space, and he also agrees with me. Women are not at all attracted by, especially nowadays, maybe back in the past, but now that they have their own money, what feminism allowed women to do is stop sleeping with men who are unattractive and rich, because now they have their own money. Now, women can sleep with men that are attractive and men that they want to sleep with. That's what's going on right now. So you got to understand the game, right? So if you understand the game, now you can leverage your life and leverage that strategy to your benefit. Now women aren't really going for the beta male provider anymore, because they have their own money and they're not really aroused by that, right? So if they're going for guys that they are attracted to, you're going to figure out what they're attracted to. That is guys who take care of themselves, guys who eat healthy, guys who get in the gym, guys who are strong emotionally and physically, and guys who have confidence, right? Strength and masculinity, right? But other guys that are asleep at the wheel and not watching this, and guys that are chasing that bag to get women, well, you're gonna blow past them. Trust me, it's true. So when this girl meets Ronald Fisher out on his yacht, he tries to have sex with her, and at some point she says he forced himself upon her. She runs off his yacht naked. Some woman at the marina takes her onto her boat and says, come here, you can come in here. And he's looking for her with some binoculars, right? Now, how much of a fool do you have to be and not understand women, right? To have a woman. I've never had a woman running out of my house naked, unless we play in a game. I'm just playing. But no, I mean that is embarrassing. That is pathetic. You're trying to. What is great about sexuality between a man and a woman is the submission of the woman. Women don't submit to sexuality to every man, and when they do submit to sexuality to they can sleep with thousands of dudes a year, whatever, right? But they don't. They chose you, right? So you have been selected for them to sleep with, right? And so they submit to you. They submit to your to your romantic pleasure that night, and that's the cool part. And you both have this passionate, and it's the desire and the passion and the lust they're feeling for you. That is the cool part of sex. It's not you trying to get non-consent sex from a woman. That is ridiculous. That negates why you're even there. But because he didn't know what women are attracted to, he's had to resort to trying to force it upon her. Now, this is just a suspicion of mine. I think that maybe he said he would pay them. I think that's because she didn't want to report it to the police. Now, I would definitely report that. That's a non-consensual sex SA. That's a first degree felony, man. You need to report it, ladies, but and if they don't, that's on, it's okay. I understand. But why would a 25-year-old be meeting some 40-year-old, not very attractive guy that's only got money, on a boat? That seems a little dangerous, Now, if she saw him and he's, banging hot, okay, and you could say that, right? But, yeah, I think he threw in money there, and then when money wasn't exchanged and he's still trying to, force himself upon her, I think that's when, because he does it again. Another woman, same thing, does the same thing, touts how much money he can give her and how much fun they can have going and traveling, and, you're feeding into a woman's attraction cues, right? Attraction. Okay, and when a woman is attracted to you, all you've done is attracted to her into your space. Now she gets to decide whether she's going to sleep with you. Now she has to be aroused by you. This is how it works. This is what Ronald didn't realize. So when he gets these girls on his yacht, he's like, oh, and when I was a younger man, I thought when I attracted a woman in my space, she probably wanted to sleep with me. Nope. Nope. You'll learn. Many women that will go on a date with you will not want to sleep with you if you're going out with low interest women, right? If you don't know the signs to look for. And as a younger man, I didn't. So yeah, he does it to a second woman, once again. And she goes running off, and she didn't want to report it either. So that's why I also think there may be a money exchange offered that we're not hearing about, right? Either way, he still tried to get non-consensual stuff going on. That's the point of this story, guys, is that he's leading with his money. He's leading with his wallet. He thinks that he's special. He thinks that separates him from you guys, the poor men or whatever. I'm just saying, it's sexual human mating, sexual relationships between men and women are competition. You are competing. That's not a doubt. That's not a we are competing, men and women, right? Now, you're not, shoulder to shoulder, but understand, if a girl thinks a guy is more, whatever, for whatever reason, she's gonna have her own list in her head. If she thinks he's more attractive, she's gonna go for him, So you are competing. You want to try to be the most attractive man you can be. And that's all you worry about. You don't worry about what the competition's doing. You make yourself the best you can make yourself be, And so, and he does it a third time with an older lady, Once again, what can he provide? Again, invites her onto his yacht, the yacht. That is him trying to, signal success, signal, monetary success, you know what I'm saying? And he thinks once again, and then he has to force himself upon the woman. Well, finally, these women do come forward and they file, SA charges on him, and he goes to trial. And I think this is in 2003, I want to say. And he says his trial's going good. This guy is definitely an evil, dark triad type guy. He's definitely sociopathic, no remorse, narcissistic, doesn't care what people think of his schemes and scams, doesn't have guilt or remorse. That's a big one, right? Charming, though. They do know how to charm, So it's the narcissistic, sociopathic, and Machiavellian, right? He wants to get what he wants to get and doesn't care how it affects other people. He doesn't have guilt or remorse, and he has no sense of self, right? And he wants control, that will go back to the, exerting power over women during a sexual attack, So, but he could get that same control if he knew how to be attractive to them. Watch a woman submit to a man that she finds attractive. That's control, dude. Because she's putting in your hands. What's Sun Tzu say? I can't remember, but it's one of those things that's the art of war or something is to win a war by not fighting or something. I can't remember. It's something to that effect is, the best way to win a war is by not even fighting. Is the strength of your army and your posture is, you win the battle by not even have to fight the battle. Sun Tzu says that, and I know I'm just paraphrasing or, don't have it exactly right, but just you could Google it and get the exact, terminology. But, when you're attractive and you've got that swag and that confidence and you know what it takes to be attractive to a woman, she'll submit to you, and that is control and power, and that's better than this physical, non-consensual, sexuality that he's trying to have because he doesn't know what makes him attractive to women, right? And I'm telling you guys, that anyone that thinks that, getting the bag is going to do that, and women are going to respect that, they don't. Just recently on Facebook, I saw that one of these ladies had posted, she was a young girl, and it said, female frogs will play dead so they don't have to sleep with an unattractive man. And I guess that's actually a true fact. And it shows this frog going by in this pond, and by this unattractive frog But I guess it's true. But anyway, but women they hate sleeping with unattractive men. That's why many of these marriages are by unattractive beta males, beta male providers. That's why you have so many sexless marriages, because they're not going to sleep with men that are unattractive, right? And you hear, and I shout out to Owen Cook, and I've just mentioned him in this video, but he had said what feminism, and I said it earlier, what feminism has allowed women to do is to no longer sleep with men they're not attracted to. Now, back in the 1950s, back in my daddy's days, where he's my mom loves him and she's supposedly attracted to him. I don't know. I'm here, so it worked, but he was a beta male provider. But that was back in the 50s, and 60s and 70s, when women weren't as welcome in the job space. But now that they have their own money, feminism allowed them to go, hey, I got my own money. I don't have to bang you beta male loser provider unattractive men. I can now bang who I want to, the attractive men. So it behooves you guys to learn how to be attractive, right? But anyway, this guy, Ronald Fisher, and I'll finish it up here, is that he ends up skipping his trial, like right when they're about to give the verdict, like the day before. He just takes off and changes his name and goes and lives on a boat, like on the coast of New Jersey. And he goes and works for like high dollar companies like Johnson & Johnson. He was working for a biotech firm. That's how good a scam artist he was. So, like I said, those dark triad psychological trait guys can be very charming. And since they have no remorse about their scheming and scamming or guilt, see, I would have guilt if someone caught me scheming and scamming, right? But he doesn't. And so, he was using the UPS shipping place as his personal address, applying to like these high dollar jobs. But he was a medical doctor and lost his license. But so he knew the jargon. He was a smart guy, so people recognized that. So his charm allowed him to get high paying jobs, and he avoided the police for 21 years until I think it was last month, or maybe a little bit later, but just recently. It was about 21 years he escaped the police, and they finally figured out where he was, and he was on his boat, his $1.4 million boat called the Silver Lining, I believe right outside the New Jersey coast. But now he's probably going to be in jail for the rest of his life. But because why? He didn't know how to be attractive to women, but he did know how to make money. So understand how to be attracted to women. I have great videos on that. This is not to advertise, it's to help you guys. I'm going to finish the Atomic Attraction book, which is 53 chapters. I've got 54 videos on it, and it gives you step by step how to be attracted to women. You need to be a leader. You need to not buy her gifts. You need to know how to dress. You need to know what fragrances to wear. You need to know how to have a good tone in your voice. You need to work out. What is other? You need to know how to deal with conflict. You need to know how to get attraction back if you lost. There's so many good chapters, guys. You need to know what to do when a woman cancels a date on you. It's step by step how to be attracted to a woman. And so many people in this dating space, red pill, will tell you, oh, women ain't women, the 304s, and they're terrible modern women, isn't it? And maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but regardless, they're going to tell you all these problems there are in dating, and there are problems in dating, right? But they don't give you solutions, and becoming more attractive is your solution to your dating problems. And go look at my summaries on Atomic Attraction. I'll finish the book tomorrow, but all the prior 53 chapters are there. Or just go buy the book on Amazon, Atomic Attraction by Christopher Canwell. And this last thing I'll mention before I end the video is Owen Cook said this one thing, and you'll hear women say, I don't need a man, I want a man. Well, they say that because they're right. They don't need a man. They don't need a man, but they do want a man, and they want an attractive man. And you need to learn what it takes to be attractive to a woman. And don't get your butt put in jail like Ronald Fisher because you didn't know how to be attractive, and you had to force and get non-consensual sex from a woman. That is ridiculous. That is unexcusable, and that guy should be doing life in prison for that. You know, you should want to be with a woman that totally wants to give herself to you. That is a powerful thing. Anyway, that's all for now, guys. We'll see you on the next one.